Nassau, July 1718. Smoke coils around shattered bastions, pirate guns swing toward the advancing Royal Navy, and every tavern yarn foretells a thunderclap battle for the Bahamas. Yet 3,000 miles north, in Edward Lloyd's crowded coffee house, a clerk quietly inks 25% onto a premium slip. No cannon roar, only a number rippling dread through a circle of underwriters. That single figure is already bleeding the Pirate Republic dry. But how can ink on parchment, not broadsides, be the weapon that sinks Nassau's pirates? Dawn breaks on 28th October 1703. 2 Bourbon frigates nose into Nassau's sleepy harbor, disgorging some 300 to 400 Franco-Spanish soldiers. Muskets crack, thatch ignites, and Fort Nassau's 22 guns fall silent. By nightfall, the town is ash. Governor Ellis Lightwood is in irons, and more than 100 English civilians lie dead or chained for Santiago de Cuba. The raiders even tow away 13 captured sloops, leaving nothing but smoking timbers and an empty flagpole. 1706. A follow-up Spanish strike scours what little has been rebuilt. Contemporary reports count only 27 Bahamian families still cowering in huts, ready to bolt for the woods at the first sail on the horizon. No fort, no magistrate, no garrison, only wreckage and reefs. Silence settles. London shrugs. No new governor stays longer than it takes to gasp at the ruins before sailing home again. For 7 full years, Nassau is a ghost anchorage. It's fresh water, shallow bars, and perfect sight lines, just waiting for the next occupants. 11th April, 1713. Cannons in Europe fall quiet with the Treaty of Utrecht, ending the War of the Spanish Succession. Hundreds of newly unemployed English privateers, armed to the teeth and owed back pay, scan the charts for a home base. What do they find? A sheltered harbor with zero royal oversight. Nassau is now wide open. But who is keeping score as every lost merchantman bleeds gold? Lloyd's Coffee House, where quills, not cutlasses, will decide whether this ruin becomes a pirate paradise. 1686, Lombard Street. Edward Lloyd pours fresh Java, while captains pin thin parchment slips to a wooden board. Each slip names a ship, her route, and the price someone will accept to cover the risk. One by one, underwriters add their signatures. I do here underwrite 5%. In this candle-lit room, modern insurance is being invented. By 1692, Lloyd sells a weekly bulletin, ancestor of Lloyd's List, reading aloud arrivals, wrecks, and captures to a packed floor. Information becomes a commodity. Every loss is priced by breakfast the next morning. 1703 to 1713, the war years. Each fresh report of new providence taken and burnt slams onto the board. Lloyd's clerks scrawl a brutal warning beside the Bahamas. Total loss, no policy. West India premiums, once a comfortable 5%, now hover around 10 to 12% of cargo value, double a North Atlantic run. Late slips tell gruesome tales. The sloop Diligence seized by pirates off Providence, entire cargo of sugar lost, the brig Mercy burned at sea. The numbers begin to scream. Red ink climbs faster than rum prices. 31st July 1715. A hurricane obliterates Spain's treasure fleet off Florida. Within weeks, Nassau's Henry Jennings and Charles Vane raid the Spanish salvage camps, dragging home an estimated 80 to 120,000 pounds in silver, enough to fund dozens of new pirate crews. The slips react instantly. Some West India voyages now quote 20 to 25%. Underwriters mutter that the Caribbean bleeds us like a leech. quills scratch, coffee cools, and one grim certainty settles over the room. Premiums are devouring profit faster than any pirate cutlass, unless the Crown does something drastic. London, 27th May, 1717. In the halls of the Society of Merchant Venturers of Bristol, 77 shipowners unroll a parchment longer than a mainsail. Wax seals glisten. The heading reads, "Humble petition of the merchants and masters of ships of Bristol." Divers' ships have been rifled and plundered, their crews barbarously used. Trade to those parts is become extremely dangerous and precarious, and if not speedily protected, may be impracticable. The math is now set. Lloyd's now demands 25% premium on a Barbados cargo, higher than the profit margin itself. In 1717, Bristol has 77 Caribbean sailings on its books, 38 to Barbados, 22 to Jamaica, 17 to the leewards. If even a quarter are taken, the city faces ruin. Their remedy is pure balance sheet logic. We pray your majesty will dispatch 1 4th-rate and 2 5th-rate frigates, proper convoys, and a royal pardon to entice the pirates home. The merchants even priced the plan. Outfitting the squadron and fortifying Nassau will cost less than a single year's insurance payouts. 31st May, 1717, Whitehall Secretary of State Joseph Addison forwards the petition to the Board of Trade with a margin note. The whole trade, from Great Britain to those parts, is in imminent danger of being lost. The board burns through ledgers. Pirate claims now eclipse the Treasury's entire West India customs take. Their recommendation goes to the king that very afternoon to dispatch at least 1 50-gun 4th-rate and 2 smaller frigates, issue a time-limited pardon to drain pirate manpower and resettle and fortify New Providence, or the problem will return. A clerk tallies the totals: £20,000 to £25,000 to fund a single privateer and his warships, £40,000 to £50,000 paid out in pirate claims last year alone. The verdict is obvious: use guns once or premiums forever. The accountants have spoken. The Crown is ready to hire a man who once was a privateer to shut the pirates down. Woodes Rogers. London, early September, 1717. On the steps of Whitehall, a royal herald unfurls calfskin vellum and cries the words every underwriter has begged to hear. By His Majesty's command, we do extend our grace and free pardon to all pirates who shall lay down arms and surrender themselves within 1 year from this 5th day of September. Broadsheets race to every port. Printers coat the city in ink that promises salvation if you reach a governor before 5 September 1718. No fees, no forfeitures, no questions about past murder on the high seas. Just your name, your confession, and a signature. Out in the Bahamas, the news arrives by courier sloop. In Nassau's ruined tavern, Thomas Barrow pins the parchment to a door. Henry Jennings believes this to be good business. Charles Vane believes it to be servitude to King George. The Pirate Republic is now a house divided. Meanwhile, 6 January 1718, St. James's Palace. King George I signs 2 documents. The first commissions Woodes Rogers, ex-privateer, circumnavigator, and now a bankrupt debtor, as Captain General and Governor-in-Chief of the Bahama Islands. The second releases £8,000 from the Treasury for fortifications, powder, and necessaries. Rogers's deal is tight-fisted but surgical. He gains 2 escorts on loan from the Royal Navy, HMS Rose with 20 guns and the sloop Shark with 10 guns. 3 armed merchantmen chartered by London and Bristol syndicates whose signatures stained the May petition, 100 redcoat regulars, 50 discharged marines, 30 bricklayers, and a shipload of pine planks to rebuild Fort Nassau's rotting bastions. At Admiralty House, the First Lord hands Rogers a set of standing orders that read like a ledger entry. Land the King's pardon first. Every pirate who signs is 1 less cannon to silence and 1 more premium point shaved. If persuasion fails, strike fast. 1 campaign season only. Insurance renewals come due in March 1719. Send weekly casualty tallies to Lloyd's. Underwriters want proof, parcel by parcel, that the Caribbean is becoming insurable again. 22nd April 1718, Downs Anchorage, Rogers's ragtag flotilla slips down channel under grey dawn. Decks creak with cannon shot, bricks and sheep for fresh meat. He budgets 90 days to reach New Providence. Every dawn, lost is another bark stripped from London's coffers. Cape Verde for fresh water, Madeira for wine, dysentery below, smallpox above, yet the squadron presses on. Each dusk, Rogers gathers his officers and rehearses the coming bluff. Royal pardon in one hand, broadsides in the other. By midsummer, the Atlantic squalls ease. Ahead lies Nassau's half-collapsed palisade and 100 pirate guns that may welcome the King's mercy or test the King's mettle. The clock is running, the pardon is printed, and Rogers' modest squadron is about to round the point. 24th July, 1718. 3 warjacks in line ahead, HMS, Rose, Milford, and Shark, nose past Hog Island. On Rose's quarterdeck, Woodes Rogers unfurls the King's colours and a second banner, Royal Pardon carried here. Inside the harbour, a 20-gun French prize, flies the black flag under Charles Vane. Trapped. Rogers hails, offers the act of grace. Vane fires a swivel, laughs, and at dusk turns his captive into a floating inferno, a fire ship that drifts straight toward the governor's flagship. The frigates sheer off. Amid the smoke, Vane slips out the East Passage in a nimble sloop and is gone into the night, leaving Nassau and its terrified civilians in Rogers' hands. Between 25th July and 10th August, Rogers marches up the ruined ramparts, reads the pardon aloud. Benjamin Hornigold, Josiah Burgess, and 200-plus pirates step forward, drop their pistols, and sign. Those who refuse, Vane, Rackham, Anne Bonny, scatter to sea. Hornigold, now sworn pirate hunter, takes 40 ex-raiders and begins patrolling the shoals for stragglers. By November, Fort Nassau rises under a swarm of bricklayers and repentant buccaneers. 12 cannon are remounted, a palisade rebuilt, and Rogers issues ration chits stamped "At His Majesty's charge." Ships entering port no longer find a black market. They find customs men. December 1718. The gallows verdict arrive. In a hastily boarded guardroom, Rogers convenes the first Admiralty court ever held in the Bahamas. Captain John Auger and 8 co-mutineers, most of them already pardoned once, are tried, condemned, and 2 days later hanged on the harbour. Their bodies sway above the channel as a warning to every returning mast. London reacts before the corpses. Lloyd's runner posts that New Providence secured. Many late pirates accepted mercy. Rate books for West India convoys, which had averaged 20 to 25%, are repriced below 15%, a 1/3 plunge as the surest metric that the Pirate Republic has been priced out of existence. With pardons signed, gallows raised and premiums tumbling, Nassau's pirate era is effectively over. But can the island hold against Spain's revenge. 24th February 1720, dawn. 3 Spanish frigates, San Jose, San Cristobal and Santiago, slip across the bar at Nassau, keels crunching the sand-rippled shallows. Their holds carry 400 infantry, 30 18-pounders, and a letter of marque to retake New Providence for His Most Catholic Majesty. On the ramparts stands a ragtag garrison of 180 men, redcoat regulars and 40 ex-pirates who only months ago flew the black flag. Rogers paces the berm, bellowing, "Gunners, remember your pardons are printed in London ink, but signed in enemy blood." The exchange lasts 6 hours. Spanish round shot smashes the powder magazine roof. Rogers repaired 9-pounders punch holes in San Cristobal's quarter deck. At dusk, the Spaniards withdraw. No landing, no prize, and Nassau remains British. Lloyd's bulletin 3 weeks later. Threat to New Providence removed. Insurance on Jamaica fleet adjusted accordingly. Rates fall again, this time to 6 to 8%, the old peacetime norm. The numbers tell the tale. Once premiums returned to single digits, London declared victory and moved its fiscal crosshairs to the next pirate nest. The smoke has cleared, the ledgers are quiet. In a single decade, Nassau travels from Black Flag Freeport to fortified royal colony, but the decisive weapon is not wood or iron. It is arithmetic. Every step in our story, Spanish raids, treasure fleet windfalls, a parchment pardon, 2 modest frigates, ticks upward or downward on Lloyd's premium charts, and the moment those numbers drifted below 10%, the Pirate Republic was finished. Its mythology already shivering into rum shop lore. Woodes Rogers will die in debt. Charles Vane will die on a London gibbet, and most of the flying gang will fade into obscurity. Yet the real victor is the balance sheet in Lombard Street. It whispers a permanent lesson to every empire that traffics in distant seas. Swords may flaunt power, but insurance rates measure it.